If you used to compete rugby, soccer, and now you keep starting and stopping training, this episode is going to explain exactly why. Because it's not your discipline, it's not your age, and it's not that you've lost it. Hi guys, this is Paul Hughes from Templetown Strength and Conditioning. Last week I talked to you about why former athletes feel lost when it comes to training, the identity shift, the loss of structure, all of that. This week I want to get tactical. I want to break down the 3 specific traps I see every former athlete fall into, and I mean everyone. Former GA players, rugby lads, soccer players. It doesn't matter the sport, the traps are all the same. Let me tell you about a client I started working with last month. 38 years old, played rugby through his 20s at a decent level, fit, strong, competitive back then. Now he's got 2 kids, runs a business, and for the last 3 years, he's been trying to get back into it. And here's what that looked like. You train hard for 2 weeks, get sore, miss a session because work ran late, feel guilty about it, then try to make up for it the next session by going harder, get even more sore, miss another session, and then just stop. 3 weeks later, he'd start again, same cycle, repeat. This client was trying to build a house, but he kept ignoring the bricks. No intelligent programming, no recovery, no structure. No wonder it kept collapsing. When I asked him what he thought the problem was, he said, I just can't stick to it anymore. I don't know what's wrong with me, but there's nothing wrong with him. He was just falling into the same 3 traps that every former athlete falls into. And once I pointed them out, everything clicked. So let's break them down. Trap number 1, and this is the big one. Training like you're still 22. Here's what I mean. When you played sport in your 20s, you were indestructible. You could train hard 6 days a week, no warm-up needed, minimum recovery. You'll go all out on a Friday night, show up Saturday morning for training, and be fine. Your body just bounced back, and that taught you a certain approach to training. Push hard, ignore discomfort, rest is for the weak, just get after it. And that worked, because you're 22. You were sleeping 8 hours, you had no stress outside of training, your body recovered fast. Now you're 35, 38, 42, you've got a desk job, you're sitting for 8 hours a day, you're not sleeping the same, you've got work stress, family stress, financial stress that you didn't have at 22. Your body doesn't recover the same way, and pretending it does is why you keep getting hurt. But you still try to train that same 22-year-old approach because that's what worked previously. So you go hard for 2 weeks, you're sore, nothing starts to niggle, your lower back, your shoulder, your knee, you push through because that's what you always did, and then it flares up properly, and you're out for 3 weeks or a month. Then you start again, same approach, same result. And here's the thing, this isn't discipline, it's a cycle of punishment and injury. It's what I call Monday penance, where you're trying to atone for the weekend by smashing yourself, but you're not building anything, you're just surviving until next Friday. We're not training for next Friday, we're building strength for the next 30 years. The issue isn't effort, the issue is you're training for who you were, not who you are. Your body needs different stimulus now. You need intelligent load management. You need deload weeks built into your programming. You need proper warm-ups and mobility work. You need recovery to be programmed, not hoped for. This doesn't mean training easier, it means training smarter. I've got clients in their 40s and 50s and 60s who are stronger now than they were at 25. Not because they're pushing harder, but because they're following intelligent programming that builds strength without breaking them down. That's the difference. So trap number 1, stop training like you're 22. Train for who you are now. Trap number 2, and this one surprises people, no external accountability. Here's what I mean. When you played sport, you had built-in accountability. You had a coach who programmed your training. You had teammates who showed up with you. You had consequences for not being there. If you didn't show up to training, your coach noticed, your teammates noticed. You might not start the next game. There were real consequences. So you showed up even when you didn't feel like it, even when you were tired, even when you had other things going on, because the accountability was external. It wasn't just you trying to motivate yourself. Now you're training alone. You've got a gym membership. Maybe you follow some program you find online and you tell yourself you're going to train 3 times this week. Monday comes, you go, you feel good. Wednesday comes, work runs late, you're tired and hungry, you skip. You tell yourself you go Thursday night instead, but Thursday comes and you don't feel like it, so you skip again. You tell yourself you get back on track again Monday, and nobody notices. There's no consequence, so you do it again the next week, and also the following week after that. You think it's a discipline problem. You think you've just lost the ability to motivate yourself, but it's not that. Former athletes have never relied on motivation. They've relied on structure. That's not a weakness. That's just how you were wired. You don't thrive training alone. You thrive in environments where someone notices if you're not there. That's why my small group program works so well for former athletes. It's not a class. It's not a boot camp where you just show up and follow along. It's coaching. You've got a coach who knows your name, knows your goals, and who notices when you're not there. You've got a group of other people who show up the same times as you every week. If you miss, people notice. Not in a judgmental way, but in a where were you way. That external accountability is the difference between training consistency and falling off every few weeks. So trap number 2, trying to do this alone. Get a coach, get a group, get some external accountability. Trap number 3, training without metrics. This one drives me absolutely mad because former athletes should know better. When you played sport, you tracked everything. Your times, your lifts, your performance markers. You knew exactly where you were getting better. You could see progress week to week, month to month. That's what kept you motivated. Not just working hard, but seeing that the work was paying off. Now, you're just getting a workout in. You go to the gym, you lift some weights, you get a sweat on, you feel tired, you go home, and you hope that you did that enough times that something will change. But it doesn't change because you're not measuring anything. Without metrics, you're just guessing, and competitors hate guessing. Here's what I do with every client on day 1. We establish baseline metrics, we test their lifts, we measure body composition, we set performance benchmarks, then we track progression every single session, load, reps, sets, all of it goes in the training log. Every 4 weeks, we retest body composition. Every 12 weeks, we retest performance benchmarks. Why? Because former athletes are wired to respond to measurable progress. You don't just need to feel like you're working hard. You need to see that you're moving forward. One of my clients said to me a few months ago, this is the first time in 5 years that I've actually known I was getting stronger, not hoped, known. That's what metrics give you. And here's the thing, when you're not tracking, you can't distinguish between effort and progress. You're confusing getting a sweat on with building capability. Those are not the same thing. So trap number 3, training without measurement. Start tracking your lifts, track your body composition, track something objective that shows you're progressing. So those are the 3 traps. Training like you're 22, no external accountability, no metrics. If you're falling into one of these, that's why you're stuck. So what actually works? Here's what I build for every client who comes to me. Number 1, structured programming that's built for who you are now, not random, not just go hard, periodized, progressive, with deload weeks and recovery built in. We're building strength for the next 30 years, not just trying to survive until Friday. Number 2, external accountability, a coach, a small group, an environment where people notice if you're not there. You don't need hype, you need a framework. Number 3, metrics that matter. We track low progression, we track body composition, we track performance benchmarks. You see exactly where you're improving. And here's what happens when you get all 3 of those things right. You stop getting injured every 6 weeks because you're just not smashing yourself hoping that it works. You actually see progress. Strength goes up, your body composition improves because there's a plan behind the work. And when you stop feeling like a watered down version of who you used to be, that's what happens when you stop winging it and start following a system. Over the last 8 years here in Carnford, I've worked with dozens of former players, rugby lads, GA players, soccer players who were stuck in the same cycle. They thought they've lost it. They hadn't. They just needed someone to point out what they were doing wrong and giving them a structure that actually worked. If you're listening to this and thinking, that's me, stop trying to fix it alone. You didn't build your fitness alone the first time. You had a system. You need one again. I've got a handful of spots for former competitors who are done drifting. If that's you, apply at templetownsc.com. I'm selective about who I work with. This isn't for people who want to try it out. This is for people who are ready to commit. If that's you, I'll talk to you soon. Train properly. Thanks for listening. Chat to you next week.